The Hamilton silver discovery in the late 1800s is the most prolific silver discovery ever in the United States of America. It sparked one of the greatest silver rushes of its time, with over 10,000 people making their way to Hamilton, Nevada. It is the reason Nevada is called the Silver State. The silver grades were spectacular. Production grades ranged over 2,500 grams per ton silver. Up to 40 million ounces of silver ore was mined from an area less than 1 mile long and a half-mile wide. Once mining ceased, the people left, and no true modern-day exploration has been done since. But what if half of Hamilton's high-grade silver ore remains?
So we're looking at the Hamilton Silver District up on that mountain there, just down to the right of the tall peak, is where the majority of that $70 million of silver came from in the late 1800s. So that's the North Block. That's where all the production came from. You can see that it's a lot higher. It's got limestone sticking out, so that's the Devonian Nevada limestone. And you can see here, this is where I'm staking. This block to the south is notably lower. And you can see right about here, this is the Eberhard Fault. So there's a large east-west fault, and on the south side, this is dropped down. The north side, it's up there. So we've got Devonian limestone on top. We got a little bit of Mississippian shale that's just on top of this. Over here is mapped as almost entirely Mississippian shale, which means that those Devonian rocks that are up there that produced all the silver are just a little deeper down here. In fact, it looks like they're actually peeking through this Mississippian stuff right over here in a few places. So this is the Eberhard Fault. They stopped mining basically at the Eberhard Fault, although there are a couple of sizable mines that we'll see in a little bit here that are just on the south side and seem to suggest that the mineralization continues south of the Eberhard, which would mean that this block could be the missing piece of the Hamilton Silver District. We're at what I would consider to be the centerpiece of the argument for there being mineralization on the south side of the Eberhard Fault. In fact, it's almost indisputable from the records from this place, which is the California mine. Now, the Eberhard Fault is just over this hill. You can see Treasure Hill in the background there. So we're on the south side of the Eberhard Fault, the south side of that big fault, just on the south side, so at the north end of the south block. Now, this mine, the California mine, it dates back to at least 1870, because in that time, a government official wrote a report and said the California mine is the most noted mine south of the Eberhard Fault. That's a quote, south of the Eberhard Fault. So there is mineralization here. The mine was sold in the late 1800s for $1 million. So $1 million in the late 1800s was a lot of money. You can see this is the old shaft, extensive workings. The old record said the mineralization here was quite uniform in grade and thickness. There's another working here. This is the main one though. Now, a couple of important points about this main shaft. One, the grade was reportedly ranged from 5,600 grams per ton silver up to 18,700 grams per ton silver.